You're welcome again to our today's discussion. Today we are discussing to spank or not to spank. This is a hotly debated topic because most of the individuals will argue we were spanked. That was the main method of discipline. And I have heard several discussions going around the same topic. Some saying, if I were not spanked, I would not have become the person that I have become. And others saying, if I was not spanked, I would never even have grown to be the person that I have become. And others saying that if that method was not used, I am not sure how our parents would have brought us up because we were very naughty. So several people appreciate the fact that they were spanked and they became what they became. And other people do not appreciate it because they feel it was too much. Almost like their parents hated them, and some even questioned if they belong to those parents. So different people take different perspectives because of their own experience of spanking. Throughout the generations, and this is from many previous generations, spanking was used as a way of discipline. And so this is one of the major methods that virtually the bigger population has encountered as a method of discipline. It becomes very difficult then to discuss it because almost everyone will tell you, I was spanked and I just turned right. I was spanked and I turned okay. I do not know again what okay is in that reference or in that perspective of turning okay, but I am going to be discussing some of the methods of discipline that are very unhealthy. These methods include pinching, biting, use of slippers, slapping, use of belts, and to a large extent, the spanking. In a research that was done by New England College on adults who had depression, it showed that 40% of the adults that had depression had gone through corporal punishment as young children. And other researches that followed showed that the children whose methods of discipline were corporal punishment had mood disorders or were very likely to have mood disorders, depression, anxiety disorders, panic attacks, because of the traumas that the spanking, the corporal punishment caused on them while they were young. So today I discuss the psychological effects of spanking or of any other methods that are used to discipline children, the methods that end up causing fear on the children. So children stop doing certain things, not because they really know the meaning of not doing them, but because they are afraid of the parents, because they are afraid of the consequences. When children grow fear, then there is no learning in fear. Fear and learning cannot be put in the same sentence. So when children stop doing certain things because of fear, then that is not discipline. It is simply fear. When children stop doing certain things because they understand the consequences and that these things are not okay for them or from the community or for their parents, then this is learning, and this is discipline. So I have heard several people arguing that spare the rod and spoil the child is scripture. It is drawn from the Bible. No arguments about that. My question is always, when do you use the rod and how do you use the rod? How do you use the rod right? Should you choose to use the rod? You can only use the rod right when you do not use the rod on a child or when you do not spank in anger. Let me give an example. A child goes out there, picks something, throws somewhere, hits and destroys something. You're very angry at the action of your child. If you take the child and spank them in anger, then that is abuse. It is not discipline. If you calm down and manage your anger, then you have an opportunity to spank the child when you're not angry. Then that is discipline. Most of the people, and a higher percentage, will tell you that when they are calm, they cannot be able to spank their children. But when they are angry, they have the energy to spank their children. So when you spank in anger, you're simply teaching the child that when you are angry, let it out on another person. Like the way to deal with anger is to let out on the person that angered you. Then later in life, how do you tell a man who was spanked by the parents as a way of dealing with the anger of the parents? How do you tell them do not spank your wife or do not hit your wife when your wife is the one that has wronged you? It is true that research has shown that most of the people who were beaten as children, when they grow as adults, then they are likely to be the perpetrators of violence. When children were methods of discipline that cause fear, shouting, high level of criticism, beating, biting, pinching were used on the child, then when they grow up, they are likely to react in two ways. One, they can become the abusers because they realize the person who is in charge is the one that has power over the person who is a subordinate. So they are likely to become abusers themselves and use any form of violence or any form of abuse. But they are also likely to be the abused and attract abusers. Why? Because they learned to be subordinates, that I have no power over you. You can mishandle me, you can abuse me, you can beat me, I am helpless. There's nothing that I can do. So you can raise children to be, number one, the perpetrators of violence or abuse, or to be the ones that are abused. Both the children that are heavy methods of discipline and fear are used can become the abusers or the abused. So how then do we moderate and discipline children? If you have to spank, walk away 1 or 2 minutes. Deal with your anger, manage it, come back. If you're spanking when you're not angry, you're disciplining. If you're spanking in anger, you're displacing anger. You're teaching them that when they are angry, they need to let it out on something else or someone else. So that is not discipline. So if we have to spank, rule is not in anger. However, there are very many other methods of discipline that are proved to work. You can ground the child. You can deny them privileges for some time. You can also appreciate or you can actually appreciate good behavior so that when they act the good way, then you appreciate them, you tell them they have done well, you clap for them, you give them a reward, so that when they do the bad one and you're not appreciating it, then over time they learn. It is the good that is rewarded and the bad is ignored. You can use either the rewarding the good behavior, or you can also punish the bad behavior in the way of withdrawing privileges, in grounding, so long as the method you're using does not inflict fear on your child, you are disciplining and you're teaching them. The rule is always let children know that certain things are wrong, so that when they repeat them, they get punished for them. If you do not let them know they are wrong, you're bringing up children who will begin to fear to make mistakes, and mistakes are part of life. They fear to make mistakes. They fear actually to try out something new, because if they try, they are afraid to make mistakes and get punished for it. So always let children know first what it is they're doing wrong. Then if they repeat it, you can punish it. You can use the healthy methods. Should you decide to use spanking, spank not out of anger. If you have any other topic that you'd like us to discuss, you can comment and share with us. And also, you can subscribe so that you join us and you get notifications for the next discussions as they come up.